So this is Jo from Maths Tutor Me. Today we're doing perimeter, area and volume, and we're doing the area of rectangles, but we're going to have to add and subtract our areas today. So the area of many shapes can be found by adding or subtracting the area of rectangles. So you can see the examples that we have to do here today. It's not just one rectangle. We have a combination of shapes, rectangular shapes joined together. So what we can do if we want to find the area of a shape like this is we can try to cut the shape into rectangles. So for this one, I could draw a little line across here, making a nice big rectangle down the bottom and a smaller rectangle up here on the top. So I am going to find the area of each of those rectangles and add them together to find the total area of my shape. Now remember that the area of a rectangle is A is equal to base times height. Now for mine, the area of this rectangle, the base is 13 and the height, okay, well we have an 11 here, but that's the whole way. What I'll need to do is subtract off the 5 here to work out that just this part here would be 6 centimeters. So this first rectangle has a base of 13 and a height of 6. Okay, I'm going to put that in brackets just to highlight that's my first rectangle. Then I'm going to add to that the area of my second little rectangle here. It's also going to be a base times a height. The base of that rectangle is 4 and the height is 5. So 4 times 5. Okay, so there is the two areas added together. The brackets aren't actually needed to type in or to do the calculation. It just helps to see the two areas there separately. So we can type that into our calculator. 13 times 6 plus 4 times 5 is equal to 98. It's an area, so it will be centimeters squared. Okay, let's have a look at question 2. We're wanting to find the area of the shaded section, which means we have a big rectangle here around the outside, and we would need to subtract away this little rectangle to find the shaded section. So remember that the area of a rectangle is base times height. So for ours, we start with the big rectangle. The base and the height is 7.8 millimeters multiplied by 12.3 millimeters. Then I want to take away this little rectangle, which has a base of 6.1 millimeters times by a height of 1.8 millimeters. Okay, type that in. 7.8 times 12.3 minus 6.1 times 1.8 is equal to 84.96 millimeters squared. Okay, question 3. It's an unusual looking shape. We have 8 across the bottom here, 8 up the side. So we could try to cut this into rectangles. Maybe I could cut it down here. But the easiest way to do this one would be to actually join across here, making it into a subtraction problem where I find the area of the big outside shape and just subtract off this little part here that I don't want. Okay, so it's basically turning into one of these questions. So again, the area formula is base times height. For the big outside shape, the base and the height are actually 8 by 8. It's a square. 8 times 8 for the square. Then I take away this little part in here that I don't want, which is 3 times 3, another square, and that gives me the part that I do want. 8 times 8 minus 3 times 3 is equal to 55 meters squared. So it looked complicated to start with, but it actually turned out quite simple. Okay, time for you to have a try. Pause the video, try these 3 questions, and then see if you get the same answers as me. So for question 1, I'm going to cut this shape. I might cut it this way. If you choose to cut it the other direction, as long as you get your measurements right, then it will still work. So this rectangle is 28 times 14. So let's write down our formula, base times height for a rectangle. So first rectangle has an area of 28 times 14. That's this one in here. This second rectangle, the 38 is the whole way across. So I need to subtract off the 14 to find out that this part in here is 22. Okay, so this rectangle that I'm going to be adding on, because I want to put these 2 areas together, will be 22 times by 6. Okay, let's calculate that. 28 times 14 plus 22 times 6. 524 centimeters squared. Question 2, I'm finding the area of the shaded section. I have a big rectangle around the outside and actually 2 small rectangles to subtract off. The area of a rectangle is base times height. So for this question, the big rectangle around the outside is going to be 16 times 12. Then I need to subtract off, let's do this one first, this little one, which will be 2 times 2. Then I also want to subtract off this one, which is 3 times 7. Okay, let's type that in. 16 times 12 minus 2 times 2 minus 3 times 7 is 167 meters squared. Question 3. Okay, I can't really make this into a nice shape by boxing it in this way, so I'm going to have to divide this into 3 rectangles. I could cut this one across here and cut this one across here. So this rectangle, I have the 2 sides, 3.6 and 7.2. This one, I have 3.9 and 5.5. This little one though, I only know that the height is 1 centimeter. So to find this length here, I'm going to have to actually, I think the 1 centimeter might be this one across the bottom here. So if this is 1 centimeter, that means I go 5.5 minus the 1, which makes this a 4.5 here. And the height, if it's 8.4 for this whole side, I need to subtract off the 3.6 and subtract off the 3.9. Which means that this height here is actually 0.9 centimeters. A little bit misleading there with that 1 there. Wasn't sure which side that was on at first. Okay, so let's find the area. The rectangle formula is base times height. So area is equal to 3.9. I'm doing this rectangle in the bottom here, times by 5.5. Okay, that's that one done. Let's just work our way up. We'll go to the little one next. Plus 4.5 times by 0.9 plus the big one on the top, 7.2 times by 3.6. Okay, just type all that in. 3.9 times 5.5 plus 4.5 times 0.9 plus 7.2 times 3.6. 51.42 centimeters squared. And that's it for today. Keep practicing. Bye.